Care to chat? Hello and welcome again to the Northern Ireland Social Care Council's popular podcast, Care to Chat. I'm Wendy Austin, and it's been my pleasure to host these podcasts, now in their fourth series, hearing the stories of social workers, of social care practitioners, and those who are their service users, and to hear of the work itself from domiciliary care to probation, early years to end of life, and the constant improvements and adjustments as change is implemented in health and social care here. It's been a real education for me, and I hope an interesting listen and a useful tool for you. Well, they say a week is a long time in politics. In social care, what a difference a year makes. We've heard in previous episodes of Care to Chat about the evolution of the Care and Practice Framework and the introduction of a brand new Level 2 qualification, Level 2 certificate in safe and effective practice. Lots of work across the sector has meant that this area of social care workforce reform is now really showing the impact of these changes. In this episode, we hear from social care practitioners who've seen the difference it's making, the Care and Practice Framework, CiP Framework, its continuous professional learning pathway, and the work on a qualification pathway to support career progression. So with me today, Drew Smiley, Social Care Manager with Belfast Trust, working in the training team. And he's an assessor of Level 2, so he's the guy to be scared of, I suspect. John Muldoon, Assistant Manager with the Ormo Centre with Extern, although he's currently working in Cookstown, managing there. Afonso Afonso, who's Homecare Operational Manager with the Belfast Trust. Lyndsey, who's Reablement Support Worker with the Belfast Trust, and Paul Rooney from the Social Care Council. So let's just set the scene here. You know, as they say in the news programmes, tell us the background to this, as if we didn't know already. But do tell us, Paul, remind us about the Care and Practice Framework, where it came from, where the work is now and what's been going on to get it there.
Well, we have a social care workforce of some 43,000 social care practitioners in Northern Ireland, and that is a growing population of in our workforce. We have an increasing demographic of older people right across the world at the moment, and care and support and the skills required to support our citizens is really, really important. It's one of the most valuable careers I think you could undertake, working in social care. It's a relationship arrangement. It's about working effectively to support some of our most vulnerable citizens in society, and that's children, adults, people with disabilities. So you need a really complex workforce, and we have evolved. Social care has evolved in the last number of years significantly. We have increasing delegation of very complex tasks. We're supporting people with much greater complexity in communities and continue to do so. And that's really important because that's what people want. They want to stay in their own homes and they want to be cared and supported as best. So we need a very diverse workforce. We need a workforce that is highly trained and skilled. And there's perceptions out there around this workforce that are really myths that need to really change and bubbles to be burst, because this is an amazing workforce. It's the biggest workforce in the system. So the Care and Practice Framework was really looking at how do we train and develop our social care workforce? How do we support the development of the new skills that continue to evolve and are to be required by this workforce, and giving them the confidence and competence, building resilience and capability. So that really was a huge task, and we needed to look at designing and developing a framework similar to other professionals. And we have the Profession and Practice Framework for social work that outlines what that looks like in a career. So we felt very strongly, and the Department of Health requested the Social Care Council to design and develop a framework that looked at continuous learning and development within the workforce and individual qualifications for people. So there was a qualification framework alongside that. And that specifically has been designed over the last number of years with the sector, I might add. We didn't sit in a room and design this. We work with people to look at the complexities in the workforce and what people required to develop So there's the development of new skills, but there's also progression in careers and retention, and the importance of supporting and maintaining people in social care. We don't want to lose good people. So it's a very value-based profession. We are now aligning that care and practice framework within children's services, and that's really, really important because, again, we have a very diverse range of skills in children's services. We have youth and community workers. We have people who've come with particular specialisms in autism, disability. We have teachers working in it, so it's a much more systemic approach to children's services now than there would have been a number of years ago. So post-Ray Jones and all that research is clearly saying that we need to build on that systemic approach working across the sector.
Well, let's kind of see if we can pull all of that together and find out how this has worked for our social care practitioners who are with us today. Let's hear your story about how you got started and where you are now. And I think also maybe the importance of what Paul was talking about, that progression, the highly skilled and trained workforce and being able to show that you are all of those things. I mean, what about your journey in social care? John, you work with Extern, and I'm guessing that you've gone through some of these qualifications.
Yep. My journey's a bit, I didn't get into social care until I was 32, so I'm now 43. So before that, I was just doing different jobs. I worked in a bank, worked in a bar, worked in just did anything. I was living just enough money to help me out at the weekend life, which was good. But then I was working in the bank for about 8 years and I started thinking this needs to change. I'm not the kind of person that could work in a bank. I don't have that mentality, that make money business thing. So thought about looking into education. So in education, I left school at 16. I went in and done a business studies HND and that with no idea of business. I just did it because it was something that just came around. It was in the old college in Brunswick Street, and I just liked that vibe of being 16, allowed to go into town and go to class and that kind of vibe. So done that and then left education, and then decided to do a level 3 in health and social care, which was run by Belfast Met. While I was working in the bank, so I was able to do it on a Friday. I met this class tutor called Jude White, who was like the head of health and social care in Belfast Met, and done the level 3, which was great. And then he persuaded me to move into the HNC stroke HND at that stage. I think it's just a HNC now. Did that, but obviously with that you need to be working. So working in the bank, I had to show that I was, in some kind of health and social care. So I went to work with a company called Rathbone. I don't think it's about now. I work with young people, and that was working with people who are in NEETs, it was called, not education, employment or training, and it was in interface areas of North Belfast. So it was working with both sides of the community, thinking of events, doing we did like video diaries of all just different programmes and bringing people together. Did that for about a year, and then one of the youth groups I was working with, New Lodge Youth Centre, they asked me to come work with them for a while. So I did that, and then go through my education, got my HNC. My idea was to go on and do social work. But then I walked into the Ormond Centre, which is the hostel which I'm assistant manager of now, and just fell in love with the work. It's work that you're working with people who are experiencing homelessness, along with complex needs, alcohol, addiction issues. I just thought that suited me. I enjoyed it from day one. So I parked the social worker idea and decided to get some proper experience working in a hostel. Did that and carried through. Really had a real determination to work with people and for harm reduction. So provide harm reduction for people. I thought that was something that, it wasn't really 2014 when I started. There wasn't much, as far as I was aware, harm reduction work being educated and shared. I just thought harm reduction was the way forward to support people. It's not criminalising them, or it's not, things like that. So yeah, I love that work, and I work with people who inject drugs. We worked on the drug combination support project, and that was just supporting people who were homeless and also injecting drugs. And then I became a manager of that service, and then progressed in the Ormond Centre and went on to do a level 5 in health and social care. and enjoyed that for 2 years in the residential management. And then from then, hopefully, just progressing through career and always looking for opportunities. So just in February, the tutor of the level 5 health and social care, Ricky, he had rang me and asked me would I ever think of it working as an assessor, and I had no real. Drew has far more experience than what I have. I'm only starting that journey, but I thought, I didn't have much confidence in it. I thought, why not give it a go? I'll give everything a go. If there's an opportunity there, I'll give it a go, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least I've tried.
And just kind of in a word or two, I mean, how important is it to you now that there is that career progression? Gone from, I worked in a bank and I worked in a bar and I did whatever that got me through the week.
Yeah.
But, it sounds now like you kind of got your eye on the ball, if you like.
Yeah, well, I think with the work that Paul and the guys do in this, it shows you what social care can do for you. It shows you the opportunities that can arise. As long as you're hard working, you give it your all, you try your best. Opportunities will come. They may not come as quick as you want them to, but they will come down the line. So, I'm 11 years in and I've got another opportunity. So who's to know what's going to come next in the next couple of years if I just keep on doing my best, giving it all and hoping.
Good for you. Lyndsey, you're very much a frontline social care practitioner as well, and you were one of the first people to complete the level 2 certificate in the Belfast Trust. What did that mean to you?
Well, it gave me more knowledge on NISC and safeguarding and person-centred care that I'm able to take and use it in my job every day. Like, it was really, really beneficial to do the course. And
tell us about your job, because I think many of us round the table here really haven't quite got a grip of what is reablement.
It's occupational therapy led, so it's very, very rewarding. You're going into somebody's had a hospital discharge and they want to still be in their own home. So we'll go in and support them. They're usually 6 to 8 weeks you go in, and the OT will come in with you and assess them. But even if somebody has a broken arm and you're going in just to help them for a while till they get back to themselves, it's just so good to see at the end that they're able to do it all themselves again.
And I mean, in what sort of circumstance? I know you mentioned someone with a broken arm or whatever, but I mean, without telling us who they are, what's maybe been the most rewarding situation that you've found yourself in with someone who needed reabled, if there is such a word?
I'm trying to think of one on top of my head, because we've had loads, but you're going in there and you're seeing somebody and they maybe don't even want the service at all, and they're just tucked till their bed. They've maybe got depression or something like that, and we would go into them every day, and you've started to get them up and you've helped them get ready and got them down into the kitchen to make something to eat, and and then at the end of it, they're glad to see you come in. You make them happy whenever they have a big smile on their face whenever you're walking in, and then eventually at the end of it, they're able to do it all themselves.
And that business of supporting people, I suppose, to get their independence back and to get their confidence back, which is often a big problem, isn't it?
Oh, yes, especially after somebody, if they've had a fall or something, you know, they really lack that confidence, or even showering, daily tasks, anything like that. And we would go in and help them.
So whenever you started in social care, did you envisage that you might be doing that someday, or that that there might be a range of qualifications that you could work your way through?
Never ever. I started off working in a nursing home, and then I kept thinking that I wanted more. I wanted to be out there in the community. I wanted my own independence, and then I went out till care in the community, and I always wanted to work for the trust. So then I seen the Reablement post come up and just applied for it, and the opportunities that I've been given in it's been really, really good. Mm-hmm.
It's really good to hear, I must say. And Paul is beaming. Afonso, tell us about you now. You're on the Shankill at the moment, and there can't be too many people there with the name Afonso on the Shankill.
There might be people in the war, probably. So I arrived in Northern Ireland probably about when I was 20 years old, and I was heading to Salford for university. That was the reason. I was just passing by. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Maybe because the country's lovely. Don't know. I stayed. I never went to Manchester. So I worked for quite a few years in recruitment and then retail. And, 2009, I don't know. People call it a midlife crisis. I was only in my early 30s, like John. So no, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was the new.
It
Must be something about the early 30s.
Yeah.
And I decided this is not for me. And it was exactly the same. I'm not a person that's gonna make money, or that's my vocation. So that's when I seen the opportunity for Homecare Worker, and that's what I did. I joined the Belfast Trust as a Band 2 Homecare Worker. 2 or 3 years after Reablement, suddenly it was introduced to the Belfast Trust in 2012. So when I joined Reablement as a Band 3 support worker, exactly same job as Lyndsey's doing at the minute. Completed my level 2 in between. My level 2 would have been, at that point, was NVQ 2. And then 3 years after, the opportunity came of joining the coordination team of Reablement. And that's when I applied and I got to Band 5, so then line manager. And then I think I stagnated a wee bit along the line because for another 4, 5, 6 years, I thought I did enjoy my job. Yeah. Enjoy working with Lyndsey was an example. It's so good with the staff, everything. But I knew in the back of my head, I just couldn't stop. You know what I mean? That wasn't just the end for me, you know. So I think with your line managers are probably the people that actually inspire you most of the times to keep going. See my example. See what you can get to and see how further you can go. So with a bit of inspiration, probably, yes, from my line managers, I did the level 5. From the level 5, then several opportunities appeared. So quite a lot of opportunities, and the one then for different interviews, and then just the end of last year, I was successful in Homecare as Homecare Manager. So, and that's when I joined Homecare, where I started. So I went back to where I started as a service manager, and that's where I am at the minute.
And how are you enjoying it up there?
Yes, every day is a challenge, you know, I bring for all of us. You know what I mean? Every day is a challenge. And but what gives me that drive to continue, it's that difference it was when I work in retail, is the fulfillment. You're giving something back. I was not taken from people, and that's what I felt when I work, even in recruitment, even in retail, that's what I felt. You know what I mean? I was just trying to let's call it a spade. I was trying to get as much money out of people as I could, you know, and that's what retail does. Yeah. And coming is the opposite. Coming into health and social care is completely different. You're giving all you can to the community. You're supporting people. When I was in Real, like Lyndsey says, the stories, and it's very hard to pin one story, but it's that familiar when we have people and Mexicans. God, you don't know how much you give to us, you know, the support you give to our parents or to Mexicans themselves, you know, give them a freedom, you know what I mean, give them a future, you know what I mean, whenever sometimes situations were just at that end, you know, so yeah, that's what I get from it.
And I know you're also helping and supporting others to complete their vocational qualifications. I'll come back to you about that in a moment, because I want to hear a bit from Drew. You're working in the training team, Drew, and advising in the development of the CiP framework and assessing the level 2 certificates. What difference do you see in people through doing those qualifications? And maybe not just in the people themselves, but also in the service and in the way that they perceive themselves.
Well, I've been involved in starting the training team from 2018, and that was the last review of the qualifications. So every 10 years or so, they review qualifications. So I was lucky enough to be involved in the start of that, and then work with Paul and Nisk. And our team was quite involved in just reviewing the qualifications with the Care and Practice Framework. So we rewrote the qualifications almost for Northern Ireland, and because it was the trusts and the private sector and the statutory sector and lots of people, there was a fair bit of just minute detail about wording that went into it, but that was really important because we now have a qualification that's really based in Northern Ireland for our own particular health and social care setup. And it's good because it starts with Lyndsey. I mean, the first unit is all about what it means to be a professional, what it means to be a social care worker. It's about standards and values, and that's from the very start. and we talk about the Social Care Council values, we talk about RQII. So it's very much based in Northern Ireland. And it's great to see the people then who've done the level 2 pilot, the certificate, and we've just launched our new level 3. So some of the people from that have already then coming through onto the level 3 with that background. But it'll be great as the people move their way through it, because the level 3's been redeveloped, the level 4 and the level 5, so we've been involved in them all, and they all follow that similar format of standards and values, the NIST Council, what it means to be a professional, linking in with Northern Ireland, and they build on each other. And you can see that in the qualifications, but also you can see that in the staff, because we had, I think it was about 50 through the Safe Effective Practice certificate to date. And they're coming through into the other qualifications, and it's great. I think somebody was saying that, a colleague was saying this morning that somebody who was on the previous qualification, they've now moved from a band 3 into a social work assistant role. So Paul, you were saying beforehand there, just in the meeting, about the transference of qualifications, and if you have that experience and the qualifications and that idea of pushing yourself. It doesn't just mean the academic side of things or your qualifications. It means then you can think about, what's next? And it's great. It's a lovely thing to be involved in. I mean, I was Afonso's assessor for the level 5, and it's great to see you in effectively what's the senior social worker equivalent position. I think that's really important to note that it social work has been a profession for a long time, but social care is now being seen more as a profession, and by doing those qualifications and pushing that, you can see how people can move from starting out in their mid-30s as level 2s, level 3s to get to band 7, equivalent of senior social worker in a professional role with professional standards and background. So it's really good to be part of, yeah.
Was he a hard taskmaster, Afonso?
Don't ask.
Lyndsey, what was it like doing the qualification? I mean, it's a long time since I left school, and the thought of kind of going back to school is quite a daunting one. How did you find it?
I found it really good. It was something that I needed. You think you know everything, but you don't until you actually sit down and learn all these other things, especially around NISC as well, because that was one of the first ones we covered, wasn't it? But no, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
And how did having that certificate and that qualification, how does that make you feel about the future, if you like? Drew was talking about level 3 and there's level 4 and 5. Have you got the kind of bug now? Would you be pushing on and maybe taking the next level and learning more?
Yes, I can't wait to do the level 3. I missed it this year, so I'll be in for it next year.
And how does it make you feel about yourself? I mean, it's been very interesting in the podcast we've been doing in this 4th series, the number of times that the word professional has been used when we've been talking about social care, not just by those people who for a long time have been saying that it should be treated as a profession, but actually by the people who are doing the work, who are in the jobs now. Do you feel like you're a professional social care practitioner?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah. Even doing that course really gave me the confidence that I needed for my job role, and everything that I learnt, I'll be able to take it on to the next place, wherever I go next.
Your work is done, Paul.
No, our work's only begun, Wendy. Yeah, the care matters. It matters to everybody, particularly for those who need it. And it's really important that we develop really good standards, really good development. If you want someone to stay and have a career in social care, then you have to provide the framework, the qualifications, the daily learning. You have to listen to what the needs are, and you have to make sure that you deliver on that. And that's what we've been trying to do with the sector, alongside the sector in partnership.
And Afonso, I mentioned that you now are helping and encouraging people to complete vocational qualifications, including the level 2 certificate. And I'm sure you're pleased to hear that Lyndsey's mad keen to have a go at level 3. So is it a hard sell, or do you find increasingly that people want to do it?
I think probably don't want to sound too too proud of myself, but they could see my example. You know what I mean? What you can achieve from the bottom. You could start from the bottom and work your way up. You can go as quick as you want. Now, I would say when talking about the two different things, the experience and then the qualifications, you shouldn't go too quick. You should gain your experience as you go along, because that's priceless. You know what I mean? No matter how good you are doing courses and doing the training, it's that experience on a day-to-day basis. It's being out there, the contact with the service users. It's not a hard sell, it's not, because it's free, you know what I mean, in most cases. Yes, it takes time, but every good thing takes time, you know what I mean? You can't just expect everything to be easy. But as soon as you start to go up the ladder, like John said, and Paul was saying, that the sky's the limit, you know what I mean? And everyone, the sky's the limit, as long as you have the drive. Lyndsey was one of the first that I convinced. And I didn't have to convince her, you know what I mean? Just say, there's a course going here, could you want to come? And said, yep. So the first level 2 certificate, and it wasn't a hard sell, was it, Lyndsey?
No. John, what about you? I mean, what did you learn? It was level 5 that you've done most recently, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Same as Afonso. So, I mean, Lyndsey said that she thought she knew most of it, but then when you sit down, you realise that actually you still have a lot to learn. Is that the same?
I think that's true. Like Afonso was saying, I spent then about 4 or 5 years getting my assistant manager experience, and then the opportunity came for the level 5. So again, I thought, I've had a good 5 years at being assistant manager. I've deputised as a manager. I think I know what I'm doing. But then when you go in and break down all the units, the elements to it, like Drew says, starting off with the regulatory bodies and understand that, and then moving through all the different units, you refresh so much knowledge that you've buried somewhere. So, for instance, like health and safety in one of the level 5 units, you're talking about you're coming into the first, open the door to my hostel. That night that I did health and wellbeing, I was like, "Where's the fire poster? Where's the sign?" I was like, "Geez, I haven't got any of that. What am I doing?" It was there, but it wasn't as the tutor had said. It has to be as you walk through the door. Someone wants to be presented with these, like a notice board and things like that. Or where's your health and safety at work poster? Things like that. You go, Ch. So we revitalised. That's just an example. But throughout all the units, I was coming the next day and going, right, this is what we need to do to make sure we're on standard. So that revitalised that for me. And just again, give it a go. I just say to people, give it a go. If it's coming. I think when I was 32, I was like, where am I going to go next? You worry about rent or worry about things, and that all can take an effect, especially in this climate where there is so much high prices and things. But I think you just got to take a chance. Go and do that year of that level 2, level 3, and if you're liking it and you're enjoying it, then go for it. What are you going to be doing next year? You're going to be in the bank, or you're going to be in the shop doing the same things, thinking, should I have done it? And then you're a year older, so you're probably going to think, no, I'm not going to do it again. So just make the move, go for it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, be happy that you've tried, and you should be happy with yourself.
I wonder, Paul, this is just me being curious here, but one of the things that's impressed me as we've done these various podcasts is that degree of constant learning and improvement that there is in social work, but obviously now in social care as well. I mean, is that something that has informed the way that you've gone about putting this care and practice framework together?
Yeah, yes. Whenever we were designing from the concept, on the back of the Department of Health asking us to develop a care and practice framework and a career pathway, and also I suppose a qualification-based register, because the perception out there was that this was an unqualified workforce, and actually so far away from reality. We want to attract the right people into social care, and the value stuff is really, really important, as people have outlined. So it's essential that we don't want anybody in social care. And the thing that you talk to anybody, when we were designing, we talked to a lot of frontline workers and managers across the system in social care. And it was so palpable, the passion and the commitment that people who work in social care have. They want to do a good job. And, we've talked a bit about progression a lot today, but actually in a lot of the people that I've talked to over the years in social care, they want to do a better job. they're working real complex situations, very, very complex family dynamics sometimes, with all sorts of disabilities, depressions, mental health issues, and have a really hard time out there living. And this workforce need to be skilled in so many areas. And that's one of the things that was really important in designing the qualification part of the framework, was that we would have agility so that people could transfer across, and that's certainly the case in social work. You can work across so many different programmes of care, and social care operates in all of those. That operates in children's services, adolescents, older people, palliative care, end of life. There's nowhere that social care doesn't operate within. And I think that continuous learning part of the framework, because we know not everybody wants to be a manager or a leader in social. Well, everybody is a leader in that sense, but they want to do a good job, and they want to know how they can improve. And when you look at that learning and development side of our pathway, it really helps develop the specifics around some of those areas of practice, and build up specialisms within that. And that's really, really important in terms of being able to do a good job. And the feedback you get when you do that, that's why people stay in social care often. And we have seen progression in terms and conditions and opportunities, and that will continue to grow. So we want to make sure anybody considering a career in social care to take it seriously, because it's a serious business.
Lyndsey, having the qualification now, and we hear what Paul was saying there, what difference does it make to you when you go into some of your reablement clients to have the confidence to know that you have the right skills and that you have the qualifications?
You need to feel within yourself that you are doing your job correctly. You have to do all your training, and you have to do everything to make sure you get it right. And were there times before when maybe you would have wondered, but now you don't? Yeah, I've just got that confidence there now after taking the course that yes, I can do this.
So what are you hoping you'll get out of level 3 then? Because I can't imagine that you're not going to get in the next intake when there are a few people around this table we could be having a word with.
I don't know. I'm going to do the level 3, and then I'm going to see where I am after that. I would like to move on and do something else, but I'm just not sure yet what it's going to be.
What areas are you looking at? You just tell me. No one else is listening.
I would like to go into the hospital. I was thinking maybe the cancer centre or ED. I like the hustle and bustle.
Oh gosh, you certainly get it there.
I like to be kept busy.
Yeah, I would say you would. Yes, and they could be doing with you. It's been really, really interesting hearing all of you talking about this, and it's great to have. For I don't know how many, we've done about 39 of these podcast episodes so far, and this is only the second time that I've had 4+ men round the table, so it is a kind of indication of the way the world works, isn't it? If you're talking to people, Drew, who want to come into the profession, and something that you've been doing for a long time with a number of different and varied roles, how do you persuade them that it's a good career pathway for men, apart from playing them what Afonso and John have been saying?
It is a female-dominated environment, which isn't reflected today, but it's about the making a difference, the feeling of actually the reward you get from making a difference in people's lives, quite often at a time when they're at their most need. When they need social care, something's happened, something's changed in their lives that they need support, and being able to be there and provide that support, it's incredibly rewarding. You've heard from John Afonso there about realising that making money is not the be all and end all, and you certainly don't come into it for the money. But there are opportunities to progress up through. But it's the job satisfaction. The job satisfaction of doing a decent job and seeing people actually coming through a situation, and you were saying there about just feeling better about themselves and being part of that is really empowering, and it's what drives me. Yeah.
So if you were if you were giving one piece of advice or a pearl of wisdom to someone who was thinking, well, I might work in social care, quite like the look of that, but I'm not sure if it could be a real career choice, what would you say to them?
One of the things we find is when people are at that point, go and visit. Sometimes people turn up for interview and they haven't really been to the service that they're going to. And actually just knocking on the door and saying, listen, I'm applying for an interview in your service. Could I come and talk to you about it? Could I come and find out? If it's a day centre, ask them to come and see what they do. Because that experience and that knowledge really helps people understand what the role is. Because it's a very, very, social care worker is a very, very wide, varied role. But if you have knowledge of what you're going for, you're more likely to really understand the service. Give it a go, but go and see. Go and visit first.
And that's a really good piece of advice. I think when they don't mind, we just kind of rock up and say,
most
can I have a look?
places you'll have a contact point that share the panel. And what we find is quite often is people they come afterwards and ask for feedback and say what would have been done better if you'd known more about the role, if you'd known more about the job and what it entailed and what day centre is, if you've worked in residential or a different service or like vice versa. It's transferable if you have the qualifications and the experience, but the service is different. So if you're thinking about moving between them, knock on the door. Ask the person who's the chair of the panel, say, listen, could I come and visit? I've got an interview coming up. Could I come and see the place? Could I come and speak to somebody who's doing that to understand it more?
Very interesting. Afonso, what would you say to anyone who has a kind of niggling thought about this but isn't sure?
Well, my first thing is, if I can do it, anyone can. I arrived in this country where my first language wasn't English. So I probably have worked a wee bit harder to catch up with everyone else. So, and I'm here in this position, so it is the fulfillment. It is the opportunity. It's the people that inspire you. Drew is one of them. I didn't say earlier on, he's not a taskmaster. He's very good. And I'll give you an example now, and this is what he taught me through the level 5. I was 3 months into this new job in March. I had a visit by RQIA on my own. And because of his training, I was able to answer every single question asked by the inspector with no issue.
He's looking very proud of you there.
He should be because he's good. so yes, it's fulfillment. It's what you get out of it. It's fulfillment. It's opportunity and fulfillment. Like I said, the sky's the limit. And again, the people that inspire you most of the time is your line manager, like I said earlier, and your colleagues and everyone around you, and all the opportunities in this provides and other institutions provide. It's never too late either. For me and John, you're probably on the same story, very similar. Your early 30s and you suddenly change your career completely, could be even later. And any time, like I said, with interviews, yes, a good example that what Drew was saying. If you see a job advertised, if you're not sure, yes, I'm in Homecare, so contact Homecare. It's public for everyone. Come and see us, see what we do, and maybe it'll be your new career.
And you've also developed the Belfast accent.
I know, it's pretty good. There's the odd wee telltale word in there. Lyndsey, what would your pearl of wisdom be?
If you have the heart for it and you are thinking about it, just do it. It is so rewarding, and I absolutely love my job. I couldn't do anything else, and I'm glad I am where I am, and I will progress. Just don't know where I'm going next.
Well, let us know, will you?
Yes.
We'd love to hear. John, what about you? As Afonso says, the two of you were late uptakers, but you've got your eye on the prize now.
Yeah, I think the overall message is just think about it. And if there's an opportunity and you can go for it, then take the chance and definitely go for it. It's going to provide so much knowledge and skills for you personally and professionally. We're all talking about in profession, but in me personally, over the past 10 years, I've developed so much about my own self, and that's the experiences of what I've seen around me in the workplace, supporting people experiencing homelessness. It isn't great all the time. You will build a lot of resilience. You will see things that maybe you never thought you'd see in work. But again, it's all learning, it's all knowledge, it's all development, and again, it just provides that extra knowledge and skills, both personally and professionally, to build you. But I would say, yeah, just go for it. Just give it a chance and go for it. And you'll pretty soon find, like Drew was saying, that if you don't have experience, sometimes you can't go for jobs. But where I work with Extern, our bank jobs, so that's, you don't have like a contract or anything, it's like a bank team. They're just asking for A and C, or A to C in maths and English, and you'll get that experience through the bank. You'll have a great disc induction through Extern. So that's for people who, like I would do the interviews for those, and there'd be people coming from all different professions. I think what I was talking here was guys from PwC, all those type of corporate things, and they were kind of fed up staring at a computer doing IT work or something, and I just want to make a difference and it's usually because of a life experience that they've had. So maybe someone's passed on or someone's got addiction issues, and they just want to make that chance. So that opportunity that we have gives the person a chance. I don't have any qualification whatsoever, but I have a foot in the door to get a few hours experience, and then everything kind of opens up.
Great idea. Yeah. That's the kind of equivalent of what Drew said. You
bang
on the door and ask if you can have a look.
I think when he said it, it just popped into my mind, because that's why we do it, because there's so many people who are in the IT profession or in kind of corporate who really want to do this but don't have the opportunity because they don't have the experience to apply for a job that says 6 months experience.
Would that be the same for, would you take agency staff as well then?
Yeah.
Sometimes then applying through agency.
Some of our agency, but with the nature of my work, some people would be there full time for like 3 to 4 years, and then they'd move on because of the shift work, and kind of, Paul knows, can be chaotic sometimes. So people kind of move on. So sometimes we would have a depleted staff level, we'd have to take on agency, but we'd put some work into that agency, provide in-house training, do all the things that a normal extern staff member would get. And pretty soon that person would then think, I'm going to apply for the job then because I've gained the knowledge and skills. So, yeah. And some of those people, they really want to be there. That's the main thing. Like, they want to be there. It's not just a job where they wake up and go, I have to go into work. It's can't wait. Let's go make a difference. So that's half the battle when you're in the job, like, isn't it? Wanting Definitely to be there every day.
Yep.
And in my 11 years, I've never had a day I wake up and go, no, I haven't. You can check my sickness records with Extern. I haven't to wake up every day and go, I'm privileged enough to go in and work somewhere where someone lives, and hopefully help them today, or even just to say hello today. Maybe that person, no one says hello. And that could be a stark kind of thing, So, yeah, things like that get me up and get me going.
Well, it's really great to hear all of that from all of you. And I know that, Paul, there are, for people who are interested and keen to do the qualifications and to kind of follow the framework through, if I could put it like that, there are quite a number of events taking place in the next few weeks, aren't there?
There are. I mean, we've launched, the Department of Health launched the social care strategy. So the thing that underpins everything we're talking about today and the care and practice framework is very clearly in the social care strategy, and it's a 10-year strategy outlining the journey of social care going into the future. What we need to do, we need to continue to train and develop our people and support them. We have quite a number of events coming up in the next while. A lot of focus around lunchtime seminars. One of the other things we're talking there about is the sort of people we want in social care. Is those soft skills are really, really important. So we have toolkits around value-based recruitment, because if you're taking someone in for an interview and they haven't had the necessary experience, it's very hard to answer competency-based questions. So we're urging employers to think more around, well, look, how do we test out the people who apply for our jobs around those soft skills, about those compassion, empathy, kindness, those things that are really important if you are requiring support, and that's really, really important. So if you're that person, social care wants to hear from you. But we're evolving, and we will continue to evolve as ever the complexities and the needs of citizens continue to rise as well. And we have a growing population. All this framework is about retaining our staff, training them well, developing them well, and to give them purpose and to do what they want to do, which is face-to-face work. And not everybody wants to be a manager. Lots of people love doing this work. Yeah. And I think we've said that today, haven't we?
With golden bells on. I think it's been really fascinating to hear the passion and the huge interest that you all have in what you do. Thanks to everyone for being here. Thanks to Paul, to Lyndsey, to Drew, Afonso and to John as well. It's really interesting to hear how this new qualification is having an effect and the other ones in the framework as well. If you want to know more, go to the NISCC website. There's lots more information there, and on the events page you'll find some of those events that Paul's been talking about too. And of course you'll also find the previous and upcoming episodes of Care to Chat. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss one, and do please rate and review us, as well as telling all your friends and colleagues. Thanks very much for listening.